transmission incoming. Connected.
Yeah, so that was about. Well, welcome to episode 19 of Broken Blasted podcast. This week we're going to be looking at prepping for a tournament. So whether you're experienced or maybe doing it for the first time, maybe you need some advice, or just to check in with things that we've done before, compare it to how you do it, then stick around for that. We're going to be doing a couple of Grimdark Would You Rathers, and we've got a very cool Who Would Win at the end. I'm Steve. This week we've got Connor and James joining us. The rest have ditched us this week, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
Outrageous, yeah. So you guys have both played, I was going to say plenty of tournaments. James, you're racking up the tournaments. You got both playing another tournament very soon. James has just come off the back of a tournament very recently.
Yep.
So what's your process? What are your thoughts on this?
Go on, Connor.
I have a
Connor's
broad...
looking very thoughtful. He's looking very thoughtful.
It's the beard.
There's a lot going on.
The beard makes me look more intelligent than I am. I'm turning into a space wolf. The main thing I look at is what the current meta is. When you go into a local Warhammer event, like your local wargaming store, it's very different. That's every area has its own meta, like your local club. So that's very different. When you go into these big events, you need to look at the national meta or what the whole system is, and you've got to think about, no matter what I do. So the meta right now, for all of you that are up to date with the hobby, is the following. It is Victrix Guard is still in there. They're not as bad. Triple Catan are in there, and it's horrendously disgusting. And ironically, Custodes are in there at the moment with 3 Land Raiders roaming around the battlefield. So there's a lot of high toughness stuff to deal with. And the best thing that you do is you need to assume you're probably going to play one of those armies at some point, because everyone wants to win, so everyone will bring the most competitive thing. So you need to look in your army, and you need to think, what tools do I have available that could beat it out? And the best way I figure it out is literally by rolling dice as a test subject. You just literally pretend that you're fighting into that. And I imagine there's probably calculators online that do it for you, but there's nothing better than physically rolling the dice and make you feel, did that work or not? That's the first thing. And once you've got that, you need to build your archetype of your list based around those units.
Yeah. Very quick side note on that. You were talking about rolling it out. So I've just been contacted by someone from, so his name's Jake Noble.
Hi, Jake.
He said, I'm the developer behind Adept Roll, a Warhammer 40k math hammer app focused on practical list testing and matchup analysis. So we're having a chat about him. Yeah, we're having a chat about him. He maybe wants to come on and speak about his app. Is that what you're talking about with that help?
That is exactly what you do, but rather than use a fancy app, I just roll it in my dice tray because, I'm a bit sad that way. And who doesn't like rolling dice?
Yeah. Okay. So you're there literally just imagining, right? If my units from my army get into that particular combination, and you sit there and roll the dice out.
Yeah, like you might think for Catan, for example, you might think, oh, my really big, heavy hitting broadsides with rail guns will do the most damage to it. It won't, because it's got saves upon saves. I found the best thing to kill Catan is death by 1,000 cuts. That's the best way to do it. Heavy anti-tank isn't going to do it. You're going to have to do lots of small arms fire into them to bring them down with a little bit of medium firepower. That's how I'm going at it. We'll see if it works.
What about you, James?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm picturing you sat there with your eyes closed, fingers together like this, just like mentally rolling the dice, and that's what I'm picturing. Like some relaxing music on in the background, maybe some incense.
I do run through. Sadly, I run through the maths in my head, and yeah, I mean, recently I've heard Warhammer described as So people talk about being like chess, and it is a bit like chess, but actually it's also a lot like poker, where there's mathematical outcomes which should happen. Like, if this unit fights this unit, if all the maths work out, that
On
unit
average,
will
you should kill it, yeah.
and will win or whatever. A bit like poker, where you've got a certain hand and you think, right, there's a 3 and 8 and a jack down there. I've got king, the percentage, blah blah blah. And you can play by the percentage.
Okay.
So I can see why that sort of an app like that would be really handy for people. But I think you can get a bit bogged down with that, because you're still playing against a human, aren't you? People can still do random stuff. Don't know what they're going to do or what decisions they're going to make. See, I mean, I do a little bit of that, I've got to say. And I think it becomes addictive. I think the more you, like, obviously last week or week before, whenever it was, we were talking about wanting to win and trying to win. And you can get kind of hooked on thinking, right, well, if I take this unit, it's got a 10% better chance of killing Tan or whatever. You can get carried away with that.
You can.
I think... Go on, Carl.
Matt, technology we use for it.
Yeah.
Ironically,
Yeah.
so there is some people. There's a guy there that is so good at making lists that he can tailor his lists so well using all the maths that it was ridiculously powerful against the other people's armies. So we now have to blind do it. So we submit a list every month. We submit a list every month, and we find out our player at the start of the month once your list is already in. So we have to now go full on blind, because you can just, if you know who your opponent is, you can list tailor it. Like, if some people only have one army, you know exactly what army they're going to bring, so you just play around it.
But I mean, that's not an issue with tournament gaming, though, is it? Because you don't get...
It is and it isn't. In theory, if, like, obviously Necrons are the meta at the moment. A lot of high toughness units are in the meta at the moment. So if you build an army around beating that, in theory, you will have a better chance of the people who don't. In theory, if you're planning on doing really well at an event, yes. If you're just planning to go and have fun, of course, then it's different, because when you lose a couple of games, you'll end up in the bracket where other people are bringing fun lists. So then you don't know what you're going to play against. Like, if I win my first 2 games, the likelihood, let's say I play Orcs first game, I play James second game, and then I go into third game, every time I win a game, the likelihood that I am going to find that meta list increases massively. If I go 2-0, 3-0 day one, there is no way in the world that I am not playing against Victrix Guard, Custodian Land Raiders, or Necron Catan in day 2. There's no way, it's impossible. Or Guard Grizzle Company was another one as well. So
I find it really amazing how quickly people adapt their armies to what's working.
It's going to be really strange, because they've just released 3 brand new detachments, so 4 new detachments with the new Maelstrom book, didn't they? So now everyone's playing around with the new Chaos Space Marine one. Looks very good. With Chiron Blackheart in it, it does look very good. The Eldar look like they've been given some of the best mobility I've ever seen an army get with those new Corsairs. Yeah.
The pirates,
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely incredible.
So question to both of you then. So once you get good at this kind of mathing things out in advance, or James getting into his Nirvana-like state and just picturing it, and you that's it. That's exactly it. Well, actually, I pictured you oiled up and topless, but that's
oiled up as well,
that's different. Yeah. Presumably, then you don't. If you get good enough at that, then when you see like the new releases, like a new set of models comes out, or like a new detachment or whatever, you don't necessarily need to. You can probably work out very quickly, can you? Like, okay, you can look at the stats of that unit and think, right, this is what that unit needs to combat, or this is how that unit is going to exactly fit into my army, and it's going to be good against the custodies here, and it's not going to be good. Like, can you get that good that when you just read the data sheet for something new, you can figure it out?
Yeah,
or do you still need to game
a lot
it out?
A lot of these top players, right? We live in a world now where it is easy to find out what's the best. Like all it takes is a couple of those really high players, like Art of War or Vanguard or other places, etc., to spend, because that's their job, is literally just spend the day playing test games with the new detachments, figure out what's really good, and then they find out what's really good, they stream it, they tell everybody else what's really good, and next thing you know, the whole world knows that that's, if you're a Chaos Space Marine player,
Right.
I know that's, oh, that's a really good list now, I've got the units for that, let's play it. It's once you have the list, you need to just play the list enough times that you will become good at it. People have always said, if you play a detachment that's bad, or a list that's bad, but you play it over and over and over again, you'll be better than someone who picks a good detachment with no testing in it.
Right.
So even if your list,
Right.
if you play against someone who has the best list in the world, but they've played it once, and you're playing one of the worst lists in the world, but you've played it 50 times, you will beat them. So there is a bit of skill when it comes to picking the detachment and the army, which is better, which is always going to be a thing. But how you use it is what determines if you're going to do well or not. If you understand it.
Yeah. I think you kind of got 4 options. You can work out what the strongest meta list is and take something like that, one of those options. Basically just copy what's online and take that. You can do what Connor does and go anti-meta. So you try and pick something that's going to kill the supposed strongest list. You can go off meta and go the complete opposite random. So you pick like 200 termagants or something, something
Right.
completely,
You go horse,
utterly
yeah.
Right.
go completely the other way.
Right.
Or you just pick what you want, what you like. But the only thing I'd say about that is if you do that, be prepared that you will often find yourself feeling outgunned. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you go to a tournament and you like using your models and it's fun for you, then that's great. But you need to make a bit of peace with yourself that you're probably going to feel like you're outmatched in every match you're playing, and then not get wound up about it afterwards, because where it is, a guy I played in the last tournament, he had a really nice, interesting Adeptus Mechanicus list. And by his own admission, he probably would have taken a stronger list, but he hasn't got all the models that he wanted yet and everything painted up. I think he lost every game, but still seemed like he had a nice time. But I think you've got to be prepared for that. If you just take the list that you just love the models, just be prepared that you might be on the receiving end of a bit of a beating.
How many people, so a typical tournament, how many people do each of those options? Like, do you get people that just bring the most random?
Yes, you get people.
Combination.
You do. We call it a fluffy list. Most local events, if you go to a one-day event, local store, they will have an award for the fluffiest list, which is like, let's say I went. I don't know what a towel fluffy list would even be. Full Croot, for example, it's like 120 carnivores and whatever. That's fluffy. That's fluffy. Or if James went like first company, all Terminators, everything like that. That would be fluffy. Or all Dreadnoughts, that would be fluffy. That sort of thing. So, and you got cheesy, which is the meta award, really. So the most cheesiest army as well. There's like different awards and stuff. I would say about a third of everyone that comes to a major GT is probably bringing what they want.
Okay.
I would say. Would you say about a third? I would say a third. Maybe a little bit less. Maybe a quarter. At least a quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, because quite quickly, like Connor said, when you go to a tournament, the first game, you might, it's completely random, obviously.
Yes, you could ruin your chances of doing well that first game. It could literally, I could go in and play Innes Wilson game 1, and I thought, that's it, that's it. My run is over already. You're not gonna hit that top bracket straight away.
But then the benefit of that is immediately, the next game is very unlikely going to be against 3 Catan, the Silent King, the Neza, Cobra, whatever his name is. A block of race or whatever. that
Yeah.
people are using for Necrons at the moment. And quite quickly, and after those first 2 or 3 games, you often find that the last 2 games you play will be the best games because they're best matched to your level by that point.
Right.
So at that stage, you're
That makes
playing
sense.
are on a par with you, whether you're going to finish 3 and 2 or 1 and 4. You'll find that it's a similar mindset to you and a similar skill level. So even if you do take a soft, fluffy list or just things that you want to use, you should still have a couple of nice games on that last day.
Yeah,
You can always
you should.
be lucky, but I would say don't drop off after the first day if you've lost all 3 games. Hang in there, because on the second day you'll probably have 2 much, much better games. And generally it'll be against 2 way more chilled out people as well. Everyone's pretty relaxed, but
it
by
gets
day
less
2,
relaxing. It gets less relaxing the better you do, the further along it gets. I would say.
Yeah.
Which because last time I went to Manchester, I don't know how I did it, but I went undefeated day 1, and I was stood there at the end thinking, "Oh shit." Sweating for game 2, and I absolutely got rinsed on game 4. I got told I had to go on a clock. It threw me off completely. I didn't expect to do that. I got told by a referee I must be on a clock game 4. It completely threw me, and I got rolled. But I won game 5, so I kind of rebounded quite nicely there. But it was it's probably the best event when I've had, and I still to this day say I completely, absolutely fluked it, and I'm terrified now. Because I don't think I'm going to do that well again. I went 3 wins, a draw, and a loss, and came 60th.
Do you think maybe were you sort of relatively new to tournaments?
Yeah,
that
that was my first major GT.
Do you think maybe because you were new, you were doing like slightly unpredictable things?
Maybe because Tau at the time weren't even that good on the meta. I don't know what it is. I just did really well. I drew my first game, which completely threw off the matchmaking. I think. I think that's what it was.
That's
first
interesting,
game.
Isn't it? That, like in some ways, that like you could talk about beginner's luck and stuff, but I do wonder if people get so like one track minded with like the meta and doing what everyone says you should do with a particular unit. Actually, there's a lot to be said for just like flipping the script and going a bit random on it. Surely,
I can't even remember what my run was. Give me 1 second. What was my run?
He's got it all written down.
Oh, I've got it all. Yeah. So I went into Gene Stealer Cults, drew. Went into Eldari Warhorse, won. Went into Demons, won. Lost to Iron Storm Space Marines, and then beat Knights. And this was last year, so GSE were quite good last year, weren't they? I think Eldar were very good.
Yeah,
it was I had none of them, but I got lucky. I avoided all the really heavy meta at the time. To be fair, I did very lucky.
And you probably weren't overthinking it. You were just
no
playing
pressure.
Warhammer.
I wanted to win. My goal was to win 2 games. That was my goal. And when I did that day 1, I signed off after that. I was like, all right, I'm happy now. I've won 2 games.
Yeah.
Took the pressure off yourself.
It's probably a secret to your success.
No, I am absolutely bricking it this time, though. So there is pressure on me this time, though. I'm not gonna lie.
But like you were saying, that was your first big GP, and it was only a year ago. Now that you've been to one, I know what my answer would be. Would you say that people should go to a bigger GT sooner rather than just going to their little local competitions?
Yes, it's not as pressuring as you find it. Everyone's really friendly. You get to meet loads of people. Generally, for the really big ones, you also have the chance to meet people that you've seen online a lot of the time as well. So, I was playing my first game that I played. The person next to me, I didn't even know it at the time, was Scary. I didn't even know it was him. I never heard of him before. And now it's annoyed me because I should have absolutely simped on him, but I didn't. And I just said hello, and he said my towel looked nice and everything, and I just thought this was this random Canadian playing Dark Eldar. I didn't know. I didn't know who he was. Oh, what a fool I was.
Yeah, I think people who are umming and ahhing definitely go to a bigger competition. And not just because everyone's very friendly, but obviously if there are any cliques in your local tournament scene, there isn't when there's 200 or 300 people there. That gets completely dissolved. So there's no sort of clickiness like that. And there are far more people there that are there just having fun with their sort of random fun list and stuff. So like I said, on day 2, you'll be playing people that are more your sort of mindset, just having fun. And you get to play
a much bigger,
different before.
There's a much bigger player pool as well.
Yeah.
You get to play armies you've never played before, which is good for your self-learning in the long run, isn't it, really?
Yeah. And it's just good fun. I mean, I'd never played Grey Knights in the last one. I'd never played Mechanicus, and I'd never played Emperor's Children. So I got to play all 3 of those factions. I've learnt a few things about them, and it's just cool seeing the models on the table. I like just seeing...
Is there any army you've not played into yet that you want to? In 10th edition that you've not played against that you really want to?
Well, loads, but I think who I'd really like to play against would either be one of the elves, goody elves or baddie elves. Not played either yet, but I think they're often played by quite skillful people, so that's probably why I've not played.
Yes, it's Dark Eldar are a very hard skill level army to learn, I've been told. To play it well, anyways.
But maybe I'd get beaten in round 1 by a good Drukhari player or something.
I've never played Orcs. I've this entire... I've been playing for 4 years this edition. Never played an Orc player once. Never played Admech once either. Never played Admech or Orcs once.
That's weird.
Obviously, I would like to come across an Agent's army just out of curiosity. I'm curious on that one, but I don't think I ever will. But I've never played Orcs or Admech.
I've never been commissioned for an Orc model ever, and never been commissioned for... Oh, I have been commissioned Admech, but yeah, never an Orc. Never painted an Orc on a commission.
Would you like to paint an Orc? I reckon the Killer Cans would be awesome to paint. Yeah,
Orcs I'd love to do that.
There's so much character on them.
The only Orc that I've ever painted for a commission is the dead one on Helbrecht's base.
yeah.
Well, that's weird, isn't it? You've played all those games and you've never played into those factions.
Yeah, I've been to quite a few events as well. It's not like I've just played my local area, but there's no one who plays Orcs in my local area either. I've never played against the army. I'd love to play against Orcs. It's very problematic tower against Orcs as well, but I've never had it. Never once. It's just, I don't know. I'd like to at some point.
Do you guys find that there's a lot of people at tournaments that would like to have a different army list, but they can't because they haven't bought the models or they haven't had time to get them painted, stuff like that?
That was me about a year ago. The list I brought to Manchester was not the list I wanted to bring to Manchester, ironically speaking. But my collection has grown substantially. I probably gained about, 600 points? Or maybe 1,000 points of a towel. Easy. Yeah, 2 Riptides, Piranhas, Broadsides, Crisis Suits, Crew. I've easily hit over 1,000 extra points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is quite common. And it's not cheap, is it? Like I know a lot of Chaos players are licking their lips at that new Defiler, but that's probably going to be £100.
That's going to be a massive model. That base looks huge.
Yeah, people are speculating what size it is, and no one's quite sure.
I reckon it'll be the same size as the Dune Crawler, the Onaga Dune Crawler. I reckon it's that same base size. I reckon.
Right.
Yeah. People want it to be great, clean one size. Then it will be more playable.
Yes, it looks really good, and the good thing is, it looks like Emperor's Children are going to get it as well.
Well, yeah, it had the.
Yeah, it did have the head, didn't it?
Yeah.
So, at what point then? So, you guys are sort of at a different point then. Like Connor, you've been in for a lot longer. You've been able to expand your army. So you've got a lot more flexibility with units you can pick before a tournament. Depending on the meta and stuff. James, you're very much like working with. You picked a list. You've got those models. So what are your thoughts towards at what point do you start expanding? What point do you just play with what you've got? What do you think is the best approach for that if you're going to be entering tournaments and stuff?
I think it's easy to carried away, as I very nearly have, and just start kind of going wild, wanting more and more stuff. But like Connor's mentioned a few times, things change pretty quickly. So something that you've got that you think, oh, they're much good at the moment, 6 months later, everyone might be clamoring for that, and it's suddenly sold out, and no one can get hold of it. Yeah, I think stick with stuff for a little while at least. Play with what models you've got.
Yeah, expand to the core of the army first, and then specialized assets afterwards.
Yeah, introduce a little bit of something else every once in a while. When you start looking at it's different. Obviously, with Space Marines, they've got such a huge list of data sheets, but you only need to have 1, 2, maybe spare units, and you'll find that you can have several different lists. Once you've added a couple of enhancements in or different things, and you can get a lot of variety out of not that much more extra, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I would say don't go too wild, but I mean it is tempting. As soon as
Because the models all look so good as well, don't they?
Yeah, and that's why people end up with 6 or 7 armies, because everyone's out at the Maelstrom stuff, and it all look great, or the new Custodes, they all look great. Oh yeah, maybe I start Custode army, and it's very easy, very easy.
Yeah.
I just want my new tower models, right? They showed me it 6 months ago now, and they still haven't come out. I don't understand. It's going to be the last part. I'm telling you. Why show me it? The Twin Lance. Yeah, the Twin Lance. It's got a shield on it.
You've been keen for that since you saw them, haven't you?
I'm ready. I'm just ready. I said, Matt, you drop everything when that comes out. You understand me? I said, you understand me right now.
So I've heard you both say before that it's not necessarily the best thing to have like a balanced army, like one of every unit. You might want to sort of lean into certain aspects.
You need an archetype of the army, yeah.
Right. So how do you factor that into, expansions and stuff? So, because for me, like, say if I went out and just had no clue, just went and bought boxes in, the GW, I would just buy something that looked balanced, like I had one leader and I have like 3 squads and I have like one tank and then a different tank but you don't necessarily want to do that. So, how do you predict into the future do you see what I mean?
Certain armies are always going to have certain play styles, like Tau, for example. No matter what edition it's going to be, you'll always have Montcar and Chiron. Obviously, Patient Hunter, Killing Blow. One is patient, one is fast. If you're a fast player, you're always going to have that. Your army archetype's always going to focus on faster units, fast, hard-hitting units. So if you always like that, you can build your army. I can get Piranhas, I can get Crisis Suits, I can get Riptides. They're always going to be good. Riptides have been good for 3 editions. They're always going to be good. Well, I've jinxed myself by saying that now for 11th edition.
Said it now, yeah.
Yeah, I have said it now. But, this edition, they've probably been the worst in the past 3 editions until they had their recent weapon changes. They were quite underperforming, but people still brought them. So it's completely based on your playstyle. If you like fast or if you like more turtling up, there's different playstyles, and you just got to build your army around that. There'll always be that way to play your army in theory.
Yeah, and no matter what they do with the rules, you're always going to have the option of big, chunky, high toughness stuff, like sort of the 5 greater demons, or a whole mechanized kind of army where you know
the monster mash.
Yeah, big monster mash option, or the other way, you've got a big horde. So if one of those type things, starting off, and one of those type options is a little bit appealing to you, that is a good way to go, because you're always going to win some games, because you'll always play someone that just can't deal with all your big tough stuff, or all your mechanized tanks, or whatever you've gone for, or you'll be against someone that there's no way they can kill 150 models, and your horde is
Yes.
just going to swarm out those, win the game. So if one of those appeals to you, that's great. You've got a bit of a head start there, because you'll get better at playing the game on top of it, but you'll always face some people that have just virtually lost before they've started. And again, that's what you've got to remember yourself, that sometimes when you lose a game, it will just be a bad matchup. You know, your army it's really good at killing 4 out of 5 options, but you come up against that number 5 and you think, oh God, I'm up against chances are, it's not a dead cert, but chances are I've lost this just because of the way things go. So yeah, have that kind of skewed list. You're always going to have some matches where you're in the driving seat, and it's kind of fun to have that that wacky unbalanced option. You know, to be the guy who's got 200 models, or has only got, here's my 5 big knights or whatever. If that's what you want to do, yeah, I'd say go for it.
See, I've never played like that. That's the weird thing. Like my art, well, maybe Tau are quite unique in that way. I've never gone a skew list with Tau, like 20 crisis suits or all crew. It's weird. I've always ran combined arms, but Tau always seemed to do well with combined arms. So maybe that's why I'm all right with it. But like I said, like I never thought of bringing 3 Riptides, 3 Ghost Keels, Storm Surge, all tanks. I've never thought about that in the slightest, or just loads of bodies. I always play combined arms. I don't know why, but it's never appeased to me to skew heavy.
But I think that's maybe more about you buying into the lore and like in a way an army really might be balanced on the tabletop rather than
a skew.
Like
I think the Tower, like I said, the Tower are the lucky ones where it is a very balanced army anyway. It's a balanced colour. You can use the majority of the army. So maybe I'm just my army's just the perfect candidate to be able to not skew, to be honest. Like Knights are a perfect example of being able to skew. Demons are. Even Space Marines, you could bring Ironstorm and go, tanks for days? Repulsor Executioners?
Yep.
You can go mental. You can. But Tau, we don't really have that option, to be fair. They kind of benefit from it in the degree. So
what percentage of people, when you're playing against, like at a tournament, so there's rules on there for having the army painted to a certain standard?
Yes.
What are the standards like, and how much does it vary? Like, if someone's coming to the tournament for the first time, like where do they need to get their models for it to be acceptable?
Ironically, it's not the people that come to a tournament for the first time that have the issue with painting quality, I would say, because those people have generally been in the hobby quite a while now, and they've been building up that army with love and care, and now it's sorted, they're going to bring it out to an event, and it's the fun list that they want to bring. So it's quite nicely painted. In theory, it's the people that probably are the most hardcore event goers that you have more issues with painting standards, and it's bad. It is bad, because there's a lot. I've seen some questionable shit in my ears saying if that should get 10 points for painting. I have seen some questionable shit. All right, you know, I've had some just people spray paint and then just put a couple of lines on it, and there you go, and it's like different shades. Just if you ever go, you should literally go. So next time you're in the area, go to one of your big American GTs, just have a look, right? Because there's loads, I imagine, and you will be outraged at some of the shit that you see on the table. You will. I am. It disturbs me greatly. Yeah, that is the minority, but there is people that will always chase what the best part of the faction is, that just like the gaming and not the hobby side, which is absolutely fine. I prefer the gaming side than the hobby side, but I also like to play with nicely painted miniatures. So this, so it is a thing. But when you've got a lovely army against an army that isn't so lovely, it does make your heart crumble a little bit. I don't know about you, James. It ruins the thematicness about it just a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been lucky. I've not played against any sort of badly painted. And like they even, so long as they're just, you don't have to have a nicely painted army to go to a tournament. Just something basic.
No, you don't.
Fine. I think I find it more. It's not a problem, but I don't like it that much when someone's got a Space Marine army. And it seems to be Space Marines, and like you're playing against someone who's say using an Ultramarines detachment, and they might have a couple of units of Ultramarines, but then a few units of Salamanders there, and then a little sneaky unit of Dark Angels there as well, and that's just a little bit grating. So I would say if you're going to go to lots of tournaments, that's your thing. I would say don't paint any of your units in one of like the founding.
Yeah, make your
chapters.
own. Yeah, make your own.
Make your
You
own
can
up.
play it however you want.
Yeah, you can choose your own color scheme, or at least someone really obscure that like the Black Lions, or something. Make something up. Then you can paint them however you like, and you can adapt it. So then, oh yeah, they're a Salamander success factor, or they're an Imperial fit, or whatever.
That's why I went with my set, to be fair, because back in the day, 9th edition, you couldn't bring certain characters unless you were a certain set. It was stupid. The stupidest thing I ever heard. So if your certain characters had certain set keywords at the bottom of it, so you couldn't bring Shadow Sun and Dark Strider together, because Dark Strider was the Tau set and Shadow Sun was Velora. And you couldn't bring Farsight because he was Enclaves. So you couldn't bring them all together.
Yeah.
But what you could do is make your own sept, which was allowed to. Or pick a lesser known sept, is what I did. And I really liked the lore and the scheme behind it. So that's why I went for just a foolproof you for the future. 10th edition has brought down those walls a lot more than the old times have. But you never know where the wind will take the rules. So you got to be careful.
That is quite galling, that scenario you just talked about there, James. Like someone, and didn't you play someone a while back, not wanting to call anyone out, but you thought you were going to be playing against Dark Angels, but they were painted up as something else.
I thought it was going to be an Imperial Fist mirror match.
That was it.
But they had a Dark Angels army,
That's it.
and it was it's completely fine, and they were all painted fine. But I just sort of thought, I was just a little bit sad.
Sorry, James.
To give the Space Marine players a bit of credit there, a lot of those people probably did that because back in the day they had to pick a chapter, didn't they? Like you had to run Salamanders, you had to run Salamander. Nowadays, this edition's given a lot more freedom to it, so all those people with Salamander armies can now play something a bit different if they wanted to, but still run it in this colour scheme.
Yeah,
I don't like the fact with people like you see 3 different units with different colour schemes. Unless you're Eldar, you can't get away with that.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah. And I mean, I'm a little bit in a glass house here because I play Imperial Fists, but I'm not using the Imperial detachment rules. So I have to accept there is some leeway, and that might change for 11th. It seems like they're trying to kind of polarize all of the Space Marine chapters a little bit. So perhaps that will change for 11th.
What makes you say that? Why do you think they're doing that?
All those new detachments they released, they were very much even more specific for like Raven Guard or for Imperial Fists, for Ultramarines, for Salamanders. And I wonder if for 11th there's gonna be like a solid divide. Financially, it probably makes sense for Games Workshop as well to stop this blur from happening.
Yeah.
What I think they'll do is they'll do a core Codex Space Marine book with a small supplement book for each. But what they will do, I reckon, I don't think they'll do Codex supplement Imperial Fists. I think they'll. Do you know how the old indexes used to be, where you used to get Index Xenos 1, and it used to be 3 different factions in it? I reckon they'll come out in different. So you'll get a core Codex book with everything in, and then you'll get a Codex supplement book, and inside that will then be chapter specific for Imperial Fist, Raven Guard for all the first founding. I think the only decision. The only difference might be Ultramarines might not, might get their own standalone book soon at this point, but they're not far off it. They've got the units, they've got the characters now, so it's not that far off being actually tenable for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. What is the minimum standard for painted models at a tournament?
Hang on, let me bring up the actual spiel here. Hang on.
Cool. Okay.
The guys at Beachhead last weekend, the wording was something like, use your common sense for a battle-ready army, you know.
Oh, okay.
3 colours, I think,
So
here
what?
in America.
Yeah, so it says, the UKTC requires all models in an army to be painted at battle-ready standard. This is generally enforced to ensure high-quality immersive experience for participants. Battle-ready standard models are fully painted, not just primed, and have detailed textured bases. The army should be painted consistently to avoid hodgepodge of different incoherent colour schemes. It should be iconic colour schemes. So basically, the main things are 3 colour, so it requires a base, a primer, obviously a primer, a base, and 3 spot colours. That's the idea of it. And it needs to be
more
based.
detailed than I was expecting.
Yes, but on paper,
it's quite specific about the base, aren't they?
On paper, yes. It's like the UK bringing in you can't smoke in the car with your kids. Yes, in theory, it's fantastic. Nobody enforces it. It has to be horrendous for you to enforce it. Like, I have not had a TO come round and say, that's a bit dodgy on your colours, mate, take off your 10 points. And you don't want to be that dick who brings it up and says, your army's not battle painted, I'm having you're taking your 10 points off. Because you could tell me you don't come across as a scummy individual if you do that, James. You do, don't you?
Yeah, I mean,
so
at one of the little local tournaments I played about a month ago, a guy I was playing against had some grey.
Where was that? Where was that tournament, James?
It was at a gaming centre called Entoyment.
Entoyment.
I've heard great things about it.
I can't believe we're 42 minutes in and nobody's mentioned Entoyment yet. Mind you, Dan's not here.
But yeah, he
go on.
had some grey models. And I thought, okay, because I didn't really care, so I wasn't going to mention anything, but he was considering himself as having the 10 points of being battle ready, which obviously he wasn't. He ended up winning by, I think, 14 points. And at the end said, oh, do you want me to take off the 10 points for me being battle ready? And I said that I don't care. It makes no difference to me. But, I wonder, had he won by 8 points, would he have still been quite so gracious and said, oh, actually, you've beaten me by 2 points because I'm not battle ready? And no one wants to go to a tournament and have fun, but then have friction, do they? Where it's unnecessary. But
it doesn't sound like that's something that the players should be in charge of. It's like you wouldn't, if you go and play any sport competitive game, like that's down to like the referees and the officials to say, oh, yeah, your bit of equipment doesn't meet the standards. Like it's not on the other player to stay while you're
now. Post in the chat, UKTC are now doing spot checks on armies. Some of that I'd never seen happen before. So they will go and pick people at random, and they will check dice, they will check tape measures, they'll check army.
That's a good idea.
And they'll check lists. They will. It's like being magically picked at the airport for mere extra searches, basically.
Yeah. I bet you've been picked a few times, haven't you, Connor?
He's always picked.
Dodgy northerner.
I have.
Yeah. He's hiding stuff in that beard.
How many people at Manchester? 400? Something along the lines? 400 or 500 people at Manchester.
I'm not sure, yeah.
And there's about 5 refs for that, I would say. There's it's a core team of about 5 referees. And they wear black and white striped tops as well. So they look like proper NFL refs. They do look like NFL refs. So you can spot them. But realistically, and let's be honest, and I understand it, the refs are going to congregate towards the top tables there the closer it goes on, you know what I mean? Like, they'll keep an eye out on the...
So what they need is they need to pay some kind of, commission painter to come in, chuck one of those tops on, and just walk just spend like 2 hours walking up and down each table.
Yeah.
Because you could spot that. It wouldn't take long just to equip, like, yeah, these all look fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It wouldn't take long.
Maybe that's
Now,
that's a shout.
grey model there.
Yeah. And like you say, that would then take the awkwardness and pressure off someone having to confront the person they're playing against and say that, hold on,
Yeah.
I've got the effort of either painting these myself or paying for a commission or whatever, because I know that's what we're supposed to do. You've turned up and you've taken this with your black sprayed models there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is. I would be nice. There is a bit of leeway. If you've got a beautifully painted army, but you've got a squad of 5 that are beautifully painted, but you just haven't got around to the bases yet, that's fine in my eyes.
That's different. Yeah,
that's fine. You've got a squad of the entire army's painted, but one Terminator isn't. I can let that slide.
Yeah.
You just kick him off first when I kill him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's like however, if you're bringing like big units that are not painted or not based, then there's an issue.
And it's also not so galling if that person's just there, mid-table, just there for a bit of fun, versus someone who's thrown that unit out because they really want a good chance at winning the whole tournament. Like there's a distinction there as well, isn't there?
I mean, the famous example was at London GT, and the main man himself, Liam VSL, had some chaos bikers. Their bases were cut out pieces of paper, which he had them on. And I think he played the first game, but then the organisers had to say, look, we can't make exceptions here. You can't be playing with models on pieces of paper. So I don't know how someone went to a shop or something. Someone somehow they managed to rush some proper bases at least to put them on.
But the only exception to that is I've seen some people with the Catan, the Deceiver. I've had some people that have like printed off like a Necron icon and stuck him on the middle of it because it's got the old base and they just haven't had time to rebase them yet. And I will give a time period where I think that's fine because obviously the old Deceiver's base was 40 mil and it's now gone to 120 mil. So it's huge compared to what it was. So in the interim months, if you've gone to the effort of finding the correct size and stuck it on top, I have no issue with that. Just for the foreseeable future, there is leeway there, isn't there? Obviously in proxy and in certain things, but like I said, Chaos Bikers have been around for 10, 15 years. You know what you're doing. Behave. You know what I mean? Behave.
Yeah, that's a massive piss take. It's funny. But with basing as well, you can buy basing like ready-made basing off the shelf. No excuse for that.
Yeah,
you could buy 3D printed bases as well. Like you just put a bit of wash on it. It looks nice.
But you could, Anyway, basing's a funny one. Cool. Should we do a quick Grimdark Would You Rather?
Yes. I think we've got off the script today. We usually do that first, don't we?
Yeah, I just was keen to get into this one.
Yeah. Go on, give us a bit of Grimdark.
I've got one if you want, Steve.
Yeah, go on. Let's squeeze one in.
Go on. Would you rather be trapped in a hive world during a Tyranid invasion with no way of escape, or be stationed on a forge world with a dark Mechanicus uprising?
What's the implications of the second one, the uprising? What's going to happen?
The AdMech aren't very nice at the moment, anyways. For you're a humble guardsman on both of these examples.
Okay.
The AdMech have been known to even take guardsmen and servitorize them and put them into all sorts of weird stuff. Now imagine the evil version of that. You'd be putting a demon engine, or your soul could be used as pain to drive an engine or something, or your screams. It's a bit like Monsters Inc., but the dark version. Your screams are used to power.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a good one. They both sound terrific. I think, personally, with the Tyranid invasion, like, you get to fight the good fight, and then they just kill you,
You-
and you get absorbed. But you're not going to then end up living some sort of torturous existence. But mind you, with the dark mechanic, you might just be able to.
You might win that. You might win that fight.
Well, yeah, that's true. You might win, and then also, even if you don't win, nothing might happen to you. You might just sort of blend in, and they might not pick you out to be put into
could
a
just point
pain
out-
engine, as you said.
Yeah, you could become a cultist.
Be like James,
maybe, yeah.
just embrace the dark powers very, very quickly without any sort of resistance.
Yeah.
You're willing to take that
Yeah.
risk, though.
Yeah, that makes it trickier. What do you reckon, James?
I'd fight. I'd fight on the
You go
hive
what,
world.
sorry?
I'd fight on the
Oh, you
hive
would?
world. Fight the good fight. Yeah. Die trying. Die alongside my mates. And get eaten by the great devourer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't believe that. I don't
I'd
think
do
that's
that.
what you would do at all.
Making dark pacts in those
I think you'd be lighting candles before the uprising was done. I think you'd have your you'd just
He'd be causing
be
the
leading,
uprising.
you'd be
He'd be
leading,
leading it, yeah. Like chaos, like nipple tassels and everything.
yeah. They'd be like, "Oh, the uprising isn't for several weeks." Like, yeah, this is just how I dress. Connor, what do you reckon? What would you do, mate?
I'd probably do the hive world, because if you're going to die, you just die that way. You're done. You get eaten.
Yeah.
Done. Sorted. You don't want to risk being trapped in an engine for the rest of like eternity. With your streams funneling stuff. Nah, thank you. No. You take the quick and painless way out.
So you take the certain death over the chance of being entombed into something.
But there's
horrific.
also yeah. You never know. The hive world might, you might survive the hive world. You never know. You might get a crusader fleet coming in. You know. You never know.
I think if you look up and see the fleet, then you know that they're only there to do one thing, Connor, and that is exterminate.
Depends if the Space Marines there or not with you. If the Space Marines on the planet with you still, I don't think they'll have a virus. I don't think they'll have a bomb Space Marines. You don't know, do you?
Yeah, they'd evacuate them first and then bomb it.
Imagine the Hive World and Space Marine 2. They're doing all right, aren't they? They're held out.
To be fair.
They're held out. It will take a while.
Yeah.
I'll do the Hive World, I think. I'll do Dark Mechanicus. I don't like the
All right,
Mechanicus
well,
anyway, so never mind the Dark Mechanicus.
Yeah, they're pretty grim, aren't they? Nice. And swiftly moving on. James, you've got who would win?
Yes.
Yeah. The team. I thought that because one of the protagonists, we have a specialist with us, I thought Connor could present the case for Commander Farsight in his battle against Chiron Blackheart. Battling, I thought they could be maybe on a planet, a ruined planet, battling for a strategic value, and they found themselves within a large Gothic ruined cathedral, and the two of them are going one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, Farsight,
Right.
I know he's got like dodgy demon sword, hasn't he? And he's got his plasma. What? Yeah, what's it all about?
See, I'm going to give you some lore background here, right? I'm going to give you some not history. I'm going to give you some, fighters have been like, oh, these fighters have taken out these people. I'm going to give you some back
Don't
details.
brainwash
So Euron Blackheart. No, I'm not brainwashing you. I googled the exact same thing for both characters. So Euron Blackheart was found he's killed a wolf lord.
Good.
Yeah. He's killed a wolf lord. He's killed quite a few Eldar. He crushed a Eldar warlock conclave with his bare hands. Yeah, fair enough. That seems to be quite impressive. He got bitch slapped by Typhus though in the war. He did. He got beat by Typhus, and Typhus thought it was a good fight, so we let him off. All right. Now we go over the Farsight's 1v1 record. All right. Survived and killed the 2 Calidus assassins on his own, and took on a Bloodthirster in hand-to-hand combat and beat it.
Didn't know
Beat
that.
a bloodthirster.
Yeah, Google it. I'm telling you, he
Wow.
beat a bloodthirster in combat.
We believe you, Connor. We believe
Absolutely.
Okay.
With the
Okay,
Dawnblade.
but how much? How much of this is?
He almost fell to chaos doing it, but he did it.
Well, I was going to say, how much of this is down to
Very-
this sword of his?
you.
You could say how much of your Blackheart is due to the Chaos Gods.
Oh yeah. I'm not defending Blackheart, but what's the deal with it? Because this sword, it's not Tau, is it? It's like a.
Well, the Dawnblade is an ancient relic to. It's actually a chaos weapon, ironically. He also has, but he has round his neck. Obviously, on the new model, you've painted one, haven't you, Stephen? Yeah. So you know how on his hand there is an icon on it.
Yes.
Yeah. That is they found that on the same world as the Dawnblade, and that wards off chaos spirits. So that kind of counterupts the Dawnblade's ability. So all the Dawnblade does is every time he kills someone with that blade, it makes his life longer. That includes killing bad people. So if he just kills a bloodthirster, his life energy gets absorbed onto him and he lives longer. That's why he's able to live as long as he is. I reckon if he didn't have the Dawnblade, he would obviously die of old age, but I reckon the town could come up with something just as good as a Dawnblade for melee prowess, and I reckon the Dawnblade doesn't make him better in combat. It's just a blade, but obviously it gives him his regeneration basically.
I think this
What would you
blade.
say to that, James?
I think this blade's a bit more powerful than just an average little power sword. I think it's very powerful. This sword. I think without it, I think Chiron would bitch slap Farsight right across that cathedral.
You reckon?
And bend him.
You reckon blade?
Yeah, if he had just a normal,
I
I think Huron would crush him
there you go.
because he's got his big claw thing. Supposedly one of the greatest weapons in the galaxy. I'm not saying, it's supposed to be pretty good, this claw. And he's got a power axe. But Farsight's blade, there's something magical about it. Yeah, I've read a couple of things. I've read something.
It's old. It's
forgetting about the little demon dog accomplice.
It's older. Also, it's older than the Imperium. That sword. Some of the old ones, apparently, something along the lines of that, basically. But then again, there is Tau commanders out there that have had the Omega gauntlets, which have been designed by the Tau that can smash through a local dawn. So if you're telling me that the Tau couldn't make up some form of melee weapon to give to Commander Farsight, like his second in command, Brightsword, has 2 fusion blades. They're telling me that Farsight couldn't do well with fusion blades over the Dawnblade. But I reckon the Tau tech would be able to catch up something very similar in melee as it. Obviously, Farsight would die because obviously his old age couldn't keep up with it. That's the only reason with the Dawnblade.
Yeah, because this blade he's got, like you're saying, the Tau are supposed to be nice, aren't they? And we're always thinking they're nice, but this sword he's got sucks the life out of people that he battles
when he
against.
kills someone, the years of their life goes towards making him live longer.
Sounds a bit chaosy to me.
Compared to a lot of 40k stuff, it's older. No, it's older than the Imperium, so which means it's older than Chaos itself, in theory. So, who knows? I'm telling you, Farsight would bitch slap Huron. He also has a jetpack, a fusion shield, and a double barrel plasma rifle as well. On top of that, with one of the most advanced battlesuit technologies the Tau have. So. Yes.
Has he got
on top of that, he has the 8 best bodyguards the world could ever have.
No bodyguards allowed.
And Chiron presumably just has no bodyguard. Chiron presumably just has like his pretty standard power armor, right? Or is there much going on with that?
It's been improved. It's not ordinary power armor. Because he was someone shot him with a multi-melter or a melter up close range, blew half of him off. The Chaos Gods.
Right.
It's believed to have kept him alive.
Brought him back.
He did little
prayer so he didn't keep
gods.
himself alive. He died and got brought back, basically, because he's died twice already. So he's not that good, is he?
But now he's been rebuilt I think I do agree with you. I think Farsight probably would win. He's a very good close combat expert. He has got some proven track record. But I think without that specific sword,
He's a very good proven track record.
I think he would lose. Without that blade, he would die.
But without that sword, he wouldn't. Then again, before Farsight became like the Enclaves, he was the best strategist. He was the best commander in the Tower Arsenal since Pure Tide. So it's hard to say it. To be fair, even before he got the blade, he killed Orc war bosses in melee combat before he even got the Dawn blade. So
he's very good. He's very, very good. But I think the blade gives him the edge. The dodgy.
I think we've lost his mic, Stephen. I think we've lost him.
Blade.
That means I've won, right? Doesn't it? I've won, yeah. That means I've won.
Yeah. Yeah, we lost your audio for a sec there, James. So Connor's just saying that he default wins.
I think it's because I was talking about the dark gods and how far like Connor said, he nearly fell. He went into some.
He's probably going for it. We can't hear him, can't we?
Yeah.
He's probably going for it. James, there is something on with you, mate. And we can't hear what you say.
Yeah. So I think it's probably the connection, but the record. So we probably can't hear it now, but it will come through on the end recording. Yeah. So the listener will get to enjoy those points that you've just made that we've not.
You know what? We should put a poll in the comment section of this video, so you can have your say of who would win.
Yes.
We'll let the people decide, James. Yes.
Yeah. Good. All right. Well, on a quick side note, both of those models are flipping excellent. That new Huron is like gorgeous. I've got a real itch to paint that. That's great. And Farsight is one of my favourites anyway. So
both quite new models, to be fair.
Yeah. I think we'll leave this till next week, but I did just want to check in with our 2026 goals, our honesty tracker, but I think we'll leave that till next week. I think for now we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for joining us. Where can we find you guys? Connor.
You can find me on Instagram at Collins Cadre Command. You can also find me on the Rogue Miniatures website at rogueminiatures.co.uk.
Hey.
I finally got it.
James, how about yourself?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, go for it.
I think he's saying reconnecting. So we've got some technical issues there. You can find me on Instagram at blasted.miniatures.james.
Lovely, thank you. So if you're listening along and you're not subscribed to us, please do. It really helps us. If you've got any Grimdark Would You Rathers or any topics you want us to dive into, you can let us know. You can either message on YouTube or Instagram, or you can send us an email to studio@rogue-miniatures.co.uk. If you're a fan of Battle Report channels and you haven't already found Daily Dice, please go and check them out. They do regular reports with some really nice looking armies. You can find their channel on YouTube. But that's it from us.
Is he joining you next week, Stephen? Sam from Daily Dice?
To probably a couple of weeks' time, he will be joining us. Sam from Daily Dice, which would be good. So we can
another fellow Northerner.
Really grim. Yeah, we'll see if we can rope him in some really grimdark Would You Rathers, put him on the spot. So that's it from us. Thanks very much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Ta-ra!
See you later.
Ta-ra!
Ta-ra!
Yeah, I think I had a couple of lag moments